Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, and there's apparently another Wicked movie, and that means more mindless musings from Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo.
Do you have a message for the queer fans who are watching this?
We love you, we love you, we love you.
We love you, we love you, we love you. And Oz has always been a queer place, a safe place for queer people, for every different color of the rainbow, for everybody. Read the L. Frank Baum books. It's the truth. You're safe with us. We love you so much.
That part.
The gayer, the better.
Do you have a message for the Guilty stars?
Oh, we love you too.
We love you too. Where is our camera?
Great. Now we have another mostly peaceful moment. You remember the original during the BLM riots. That was some of CNN's worst work. And CBS wants to emulate that fake news by this report characterising a violent Antifa riot at Berkeley. As you guessed it, mostly peaceful.
Yeah, things have been lively here. While that Turning Point USA event is still happening inside, protesters have been out here for hours. You can see them still here behind me. They have been chanting, just a very, very lively scene out here. While things have been mostly peaceful, there have been some tense moments. Earlier this evening, there was a scuffle that broke out where two men started fighting. UC Berkeley police had to break up that interaction. Later, someone was throwing smoke bombs.
Are you kidding me? Just smoke bombs? Really? And, oh yeah, the violent Antifa thugs attacking people attending a Turning Point USA event. That's characterised as mostly peaceful, even as attendees are abused, threatened and bashed. As for her claim that just two men were fighting, well, that was wrong too. One man, a lefty called Jihad, allegedly attacked the victim, who was left bloodied. And I say allegedly because he's already been arrested and charged with assault. And of course, CBS were keen to platform another lefty losing it, a woman with a septum ring who can't tolerate people with views that differ from her warped view of the world.
Turning Point USA should not be here, and they are like a fascist organization, and nobody here agrees with what they are saying. And obviously Charlie Kirk has been a big issue with like a lot of college campuses and people on college campuses, so we just think, like, I mean, obviously I didn't really follow him a lot, but knowing what he did and knowing the things that he was saying, it's just like vile and disgusting. So we don't want to support his organization, and I don't think that the Berkeley chancellor should have let them come here.
Now to alleged comic Chelsea Handler, and I say alleged because she ain't funny, but she is indulging in cancel culture by encouraging people to boycott an ever-increasing list of companies.
Every Saturday, they're listing 10 new companies to boycott, and they're giving you background reasons, what they're affiliated with, who they give their money to, and who is profiting off of things like ICE, profiting off of ICE detention centers and all that stuff. But so, like, I'm feeling a lot of momentum. I'm feeling really, really supercharged and happy and powerful and hopeful. I feel hopeful again.
Oh, she feels hopeful again. You know, I kind of feel a little sorry for her, so I won't say what I was going to say, but thinking it. Let's hear now from Jon Stewart, who doesn't feel hopeful at all. He is distraught because his beloved Democrats folded, just like his beloved Giants.
Not only did the Democrats and Giants lose in the same, I can't f***ing believe it, manner, they sound the same doing it.
It's natural and appropriate to feel deep disappointment.
Disappointing outcome.
It was not the result many of us wanted.
Want to get the results that you hoped for and came up short?
It never feels good to come up short.
We came up short, and that was a tough one.
You learn and you prepare to do better in the future.
You're always learning and trying to be better. Well, not enough wins. Not enough wins.
We will win. We will win. We will win. We won't rest. We won't rest.
Now, America and indeed the world dodged a bullet, an incoherent, incompetent bullet, when Kamala Harris failed to buy her way into the presidency. Remember, she outspent the Trump campaign by an enormous margin, and despite losing in spectacular fashion, she seems to think she outsmarted President Trump. She was playing three-dimensional chess.
And I wasn't about to fall prey or fall into those traps. And part of his strategy and those around him was to try and take me off our game and message. And I wasn't about to be distracted by those flames that he was trying to throw to get me away from my highest priority, which was talking to people about the economy and their well-being in terms of their financial well-being. And so I understood the game that was being played, and I made a decision that I wasn't going to get played. And
chess, not checkers. Got it.
Chess, not checkers.
yeah, three-dimensional chess, I'm telling you, you know.
She lost by a huge margin. She lost every swing state. She lost the popular vote and she lost the electoral college. What three-dimensional chess was she exactly playing? Joining me now is political advisor and commentator CJ Pearson. CJ, what is Kamala talking about?
I don't think Kamala knows what she's talking about in this case, right? And if she was playing three-dimensional chess, she was very bad at it, almost as bad as being a politician. So either way, she's not good at this chess thing, not good at this politics thing. Is Kamala Harris good at anything? I'm struggling to answer that question.
Now, I'm interested in your take on the growing conflict within conservative ranks. There's two sides battling it out. Ben Shapiro's on one side, Tucker Carlson on the other. And I want to play you a clip that has gone viral in the past 24 hours. It's Ben Shapiro. He's talking about housing and affordability. Let's have a listen first.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities.
CJ, Ben Shapiro is copying significant criticism for that. Is that unfair? There's an argument that that brand of conservatism is going to alienate young voters and voters who feel like they can't really get into the housing market, that it's the privileges their parents had is not available to them.
No, you're exactly right. And I think that type of just pessimism is not what's going to be what wins over the hearts and minds of young people and brings them over to our side. The American dream should be attainable if you are an American, right? There are people that are trying to give the American dream to folks who aren't even American citizens. And so, of course, you know, young people in this country who are American, who want to own a home. We've seen many studies where 90% of Gen Z says they will wish to one day own a home, but fear they never will be able to. That type of doomerism is not going to be what brings them over to our side. And so I would say that I completely disagree with Ben on that. And I would ask where he would want them to move. Are we supposed to lose our best and brightest to Costa Rica or some type of third world country where maybe there will be millionaires? I don't really know what the solution to what he was proposing actually is or what that would even look like. So.
Now, I think I would hope he was suggesting that perhaps move to more affordable parts of America as opposed to some of the big cities where affordability is such a problem. But it is interesting, isn't it, that that sort of sentiment can be seen as just lacking in compassion and young people feeling like they've done the right things, they've gone to university, they've got this massive college debt, they're trying to work, and they're not getting ahead. They're falling further behind. And I think that's something that, well, all sides of the political spectrum need to think about. Now, the left like to portray themselves as kind, compassionate, open-minded when they're nothing of the sort. And that's something actress Cheryl Hines has discovered firsthand. Here she is chatting with Bill Maher.
The Republicans have been very kind to me from the beginning. Even from the beginning, when Bobby was running as a Democrat, they weren't mean.
No.
And they never have been.
No.
And I can't say that for the Democrats.
I agree.
And it's sad
because it's not the Democrats we grew up with.
Of course, actress Cheryl Hines married to RFK Jr. CJ, Bill Maher still votes Democrat. He campaigns against Republicans, but even he acknowledges that the left has changed. Just during his lifetime, there's been a fairly dramatic change.
Yeah, these may not be the Democrats they grew up with, but these are the Democrats of today. The Democrats who completely hate free speech. We saw it just yesterday at the Turning Point USA event that happened at UC Berkeley, where they threw fire bombs and sought to assault attendees of the event. And this is the so-called, political party of supposed tolerance. These people absolutely hate dissent. They hate different ideas. They hate half of America, unfortunately. Like, that is where we are right now. And I think Cheryl Hines is completely right. What I hope is that, those classical liberals, those old school Democrats realize that there is no home for them in the modern day Democrat Party. I hope that they, find themselves, looking at other options. Bill Maher is someone that, I feel like sometimes we give him a little bit too much credit, because I think that he knows that reality is true, that there is no home for him in the modern day Democratic Party. But still, he hasn't found his way, outside of it quite yet. But I'll hold out hope for him, and hopefully he'll make the jump one day.
Well, he's come a long way. I mean, I've played clips of him going on insane rants, TDS-afflicted rants, and he doesn't do that anymore. He made all sorts of doomsday predictions if Trump won, that, everyone's free speech was going to be taken away, he was going to be ripped off air, he would never give up power. He's moderated somewhat, so there's hope for him. Let's just see if he's fully cured of his TDS. But during that chat, they also talked about McCarthyism, modern-day McCarthyism, a real variety that exists undoubtedly, where if you're in the entertainment world, particularly Hollywood, and you are not a leftist, then it is going to impact your career. It doesn't matter how popular you are, how good you are at your job, you're probably not going to get the roles that you would get. Perhaps you won't get any roles at all and you would be blacklisted.
I think you're exactly right. The cancel culture that has defined the left is very much alive and well in Hollywood. But what I'll give them kind of credit for now with the rise of the Sydney Sweeneys, they kind of realize that people are over this entire, being lectured by a bunch of Hollywood celebrities who are completely and grossly out of touch with the day-to-day problems of everyday Americans. And I think that's exactly why, all of Hollywood may have rallied around Kamala Harris, may have rallied around Joe Biden and Barack Obama, but the American people rejected those individuals and their pleas to, fall in line and all of those things. And so people are over cancel culture. They're over being told how to think and what to think. Why? Because this is the United States of America. And I think courage is contagious. So when you see, celebrities like Cheryl Hines now who are starting to ask those questions, even Bill Maher, starting to, ask questions he previously, would never have thought to ask, or make criticisms of his own side that he would have never thought to make, I think it leads to a lot of other people in Hollywood saying, why can't I ask those same questions as well?
Now, CJ, I want to play you some footage from the New York City subway. Watch how this woman is threatened, pushed around, and how nobody intervenes.
Violate a lady, but you do that again, and I'll you up. You feel me? I'm gonna you up. You what you talking about? Don't sit there and do none of that. I'm gonna violate your talk about. Don't push me. Don't push me. Are you fucking serious? Are you serious? Knock your out. Stop jumping. She was a You're so lucky, bro. Wait till I said you lucky out here, female. What about mom? Find that bag. You find that bag.
CJ, in my mind, that's a failure in masculinity. What happened to Good Samaritans? What happened to chivalry? What happened to protecting women?
You're exactly right. It's a failure of masculinity, but it's also the spread of cowardice. But why does that cowardice maybe exist? Maybe because it's of folks like Daniel Penny, who would have seen something like that, would have sprung into action, and then in a city like New York would not have been treated like the hero that he was, would not have been commended for standing up for someone that's weaker than him, smaller than him, but would have been thrown in jail and risk the ability of ever making a livelihood ever again. And so it's unfortunate that, I think people have to think and double think about those things. I think we also just rise to the occasion still and say, no, we're just not going to let that happen. But I think that we're seeing exactly the type of reaction that the conditions of New York City and their law enforcement have created, and it's only going to get worse under Mamdani. So it's if this is a foreshadowing of what's to come, I think that this is going to get a lot worse from here.
Well, yes, Mamdani would prefer some sort of social worker give that dude a group hug as opposed to put him in handcuffs and put him behind bars, because he's not a fan of jails either. But I think you're so right there pointing out Daniel Penny. What happened to him is absolutely shameful, and I think it has a long-lasting impact. I think those who perhaps would have intervened will remember that case, and they will think about themselves. They won't step in to help a stranger when their lives could be turned upside down. Now, before you go, tell me about California Governor Gavin Newsom. He's been doing a victory tour in Texas after his Proposition 50 referendum got up. The California ballot initiative passed quite easily in the end. Why is Newsom celebrating this win in Texas, and what was Proposition 50 all about?
Well, he's running, he's running for president. He's making that, incredibly clear. And I actually have the misfortune of being in California right now in Los Angeles. And I got to tell you is that the more that people actually see what his leadership has done to the state of California, the more they'll run away from him, not towards him. Prop 50 was an attempt to basically, of course, increase in the Democratic representation in Congress by gerrymandering the state even further than it already is, in answer to what, happened in Texas. But it was a, very undemocratic way in which they went about it. It was a way that actually conflicted with their state's constitution. They were forced to, put this proposition on the ballot to amend that constitution. And of course, there is a, multi-million-dollar effort funded by George Soros and many of his allies to do so. And so, but here's the deal. I think that, again, as I said, as more people learn about Gavin Newsom, his actual record in the state of California, they'll want nothing to do with him. And so I wish him the best in his presidential campaign, but I think he'll run into the problem that he's probably a little bit too straight and white for the Democrat Party to be at the head of that ticket. So we'll see.
CJ Pearson, thank you so much for your time.